fact that the IMF is so dominated by the G1 makes it difficult for it to deal forcefully with the source of the current problem, which is the global imbalances, the lack of regulation in the United States. It's very difficult. It would be difficult under any circumstances, but it's particularly difficult when they have the veto power, and they have the right to appoint the number two person and so forth. For one to be excessively, to be as critical as one ought to have been before the crisis of these problems, which many of us saw. You know, I and a number of other people, including Paul Krugman, writing the New York Times, saw the uh, difficulties that were almost inevitable. And I began, speaking and writing about this in 2004, 2005. And the longer it went, the bubble went, the higher the probability was that it would be a more serious downturn. Um, Now, I think uh, for the effectiveness of the IMF, it has to be reformed. The reforms so far have been glacial, very small in nature. Uh, it's not going to be possible this is, one's not going to change it overnight, but the dominance is not just the voting structure, but the fact that the uh, uh, governance is based on central banks and finance ministries from the advanced industrial countries, most of whom were engaging in the practices which led to the current problem, makes it very difficult. And that's why in my talk I refer to the importance in having some degree of oversight from those who are likely to be hurt when the policies fail, when the regulation fails. So not just the winners. There was a party going on, and the people who were the regulators were refilling the punch bowls to keep the party going. And that's not the role of the regulator. It's supposed to be to take away the punch bowl when the party gets a little bit too raucous. And then the final point I guess I could say is there's been a very major change in global economic balances. The sources of liquid finance in the world today are in the sovereign wealth funds and the reserves, and the countries with large amounts of reserves, and the oil countries, and that needs to be reflected in the way we tackle this problem. And unfortunately, I don't think it can be adequately tackled within existing institutional structures. But we may have to make some ad hoc accommodation, realizing there's an emergency here.